Hi, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you've joined me today. I'm Kelley Pitts with Create with Kelley, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Lubbock, Texas. And I've been a demonstrator for 20 years. Yes, I signed up in 2005 just to really be able to teach my passion for paper crafting. I love the card making. I went to one class at somebody's home and decided right then, oh, I have to do this. I love the coordination of the products and I love sharing it with people. So I am happy to be a demonstrator and I'm happy that you've joined today. Whether you've joined live on Facebook, live on YouTube, or if you're watching the replay on either one, just be sure and let me know that you're there and say hi and let me know who you are. Would love to have you join me for future videos so you can subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, and that way you'll know when I've got a video coming up. Today we are on card number 4 of the 8 cards that I designed in a collection from using the Joyful Days Memories and More card pack from Stampin' Up! And one card pack will make 6 each of the 8 designs that I made. Of course, you have to add your embellishments and your cardstock and all that, but the card pack itself will actually do, because you have 6 each of all the designs in the pack. And I'll tell you as we go which ones I've used and kind of how I cut them up. And if you need a PDF that tells you all the measurements of everything, I do have that available. There's a Google form that you can click right below the video. And if you need any of the other supplies, they're in the video. So we will get started on this card number 4 of the series. I'll switch that over and I'm going to just go ahead and make this full screen so you can see it a little bit larger. We're going to start with a piece of Mossy Meadow, and we want to get it, use our bone folder and get it scored really well. And this is going to be the back portion right here. So this is a mountain fold. And you want to make sure that gets level. Whoops, let me tell you before we get going here. We've got a 4 1/4. Let's see. Nope. 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 scored at 3 inches, 6 inches, and 7 1/4. 3 inches, 6 inches, 7 1/4. And this is 5 1/2 tall by 8 1/2 wide. Okay. There's your measurements. Just use your bone folder, get it really good there. So that's the mountain in the back. Then we're going to have a valley. So this folds up. Just make sure it's even on the sides before you really burnish it. And I do both sides of it. I mean, I really get after it with the bone folder to make sure it'll perform the way I want it to. So you've got a mountain, a valley, and now you're going to have another mountain toward you. This is going to be the very front section of the card. So as you can see, you've got mountain, valley, mountain, front to back. Then we're going to take out our little pieces and go ahead and do some stamping. I've got the back piece, which this could be placed on the very back or it could be placed on the inside, whichever one you prefer. And that white piece is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. And you could use that on the back or the inside. 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. And then you've also got a circle. You'd need a piece about 3 by 3 to die cut your circle out with a stylish shaped die. And then you've got another piece that's 1 3/4 by 5 1/2. And that is what is torn. I'll show you how to tear that too. We'll just tear that since I have it in my hand. We're going to start at the top here and hold the paper. If you're going to tear, you want that ragged edge toward you. You want it up. If this is what you're going for, is this look, which I kind of wanted it to look a little bit like a snowbank. But you need to guide it with this thumb as you pull towards you with the other thumb. And I'm just pulling a little bit off of this piece most of that, the right-hand side is going to be covered up anyway. But I think that works. And you want to make sure it's taller than your front piece there, which it is. It doesn't matter if it's a little taller, not quite as tall, whatever. If you want a little more variety in your little heel there, you can see you can make a dip down. You can do whatever you want with it. And we'll go ahead and attach that since there's nothing wrapped around this layer. We don't have any ribbon or anything. So we're just going to go ahead and put glue on that. We'll get our little silicone mat out. Keep us from making a mess everywhere. And I'm just going to line this up at the sides and at the bottom on that very front piece. And notice I put it on the green. I put the glue on the green and not on the white so that I didn't have to figure out where to stop with the glue. Didn't go overboard. Okay. Now we'll do our stamping next. We've got our Stampin' Pierce mat somewhere. I don't see the nice clean one we had. Typical. I don't know. I walked away with it. So you get to see one that's well loved. All right. We're just going to stamp Peace on Earth. And I'm going to show you how I put this stamp back together. If you were watching the last card, I showed you how I split this up. This is from the Peace on Earth bundle right here. So it comes as all one stamp, that Peace on Earth. But I needed the piece separate, so I just cut them apart. And then I'll show you how to put that back together. You can see that there's just like a little place there where it just fits right back in. No one would ever know they've been split. So see that? How they just hook right back together? No big deal. But it is much easier to stamp if you need to stamp with a piece by itself. Anyway, then this is the way to do it. It's just go ahead and cut those apart, and then you can still put it back on and get it straight. Let's see. Look at that grid. That's fairly close. I think that'll work. So we're going to get our Peace on Earth, and we're stamping it in Cherry Cobbler. And I'm tapping this really well. And I'm going to stamp this in the center. Use some pressure, even pressure. Let it sit there a few seconds. Let it soak in. Perfect. Love it. All right. Peace on Earth done. Now we'll clean this off really quickly with our chamois. Now we're going to use the Merry Christmas from the Jolly Holly set. And we're also using a little tiny stamp, this one, from the Christmas Greenery stamp set. And we're going to do Cherry Cobbler on the Merry Christmas. And this is going to do the back. And if you can do it sideways on your pad this way, that's fine. If you feel like you need to turn it upside down, you can also do it this way. Just make sure you get it coated really well. Close that up so you don't get it everywhere. And then I'm going to leave room for the little tree, which it's really just a little branch, but I think it looks like a tree. Looks like I moved my Merry Christmas a little bit apart, but it's okay. So these are in two separate pieces, as you saw. You can kind of line it up however you want. I just kind of liked it lined up on the right-hand side at the bottom. And we'll do our little tree. And I tried this with 2 trees, 3 trees. Just tried it several different ways, and I liked just the one individual single tree. Well, let's sit there a second and get it good and solid. And that is in Mossy Meadow. Get that cleaned off. I miss my wonderful helpers that I have often. I get spoiled. Okay, now we'll get our little silicone mat out and glue this to the back since we don't need to do anything else to this layer. And we'll just line that up where we have an even border all the way around. So you have plenty of room to write a little Christmas message on the back. Then we're going to take this piece, and this card was like this. It was a 4x6, 4 inches by 6 inches. And I cut this to, I think it is 3 3/4. Let me see if I can find that. Yes, 3 3/4 by 4. This one is 2 1/4. It needed to be a little bit wider. I wanted to get all the trees basically that I could and still have plenty of this background. So we can go ahead and glue the background in. And in my mind on this card, I was going for trees in the foreground and then a sunset in the background, or a moon coming up in the colorful background. Isn't that pretty? So I went like a colorful sky down to the green, down to the dark green that would be shadowed behind this little hill. So that's where I came up with this concept of putting the trees up front, in front of the background. And then this to me was like a moonscape, moonshine. Okay. Not that kind of moonshine. Where are y'all going with that? Okay. Funny. I'm just going to go right from here. Just going to use the glue on the background itself. Probably should not have it in that score. We don't want that. But we're going to line this up with the very edge, the bottom of the score, and the edge on the right. So just kind of look and see. You can tell from the back if that's lined up. And it is. And if it folds properly, you want to do that before you put the final touch on there. Okay, so that stands. That's doing great. And while we're at it, we'll go ahead and do the piece on earth here. Well, let's wait till we get our trees on. How about that? Okay, so all we have to do here is a little bit of fussy cutting. I know some of y'all are not that big a fan, but oh, and I'm sorry, I'm moved somehow. Have me on there again. Let's make that as big as possible so y'all can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I just took my paper snips, and you want to leave this as a solid straight edge because that's going to line up over here. So we will just start right here, and I'm going to leave a little bit of white because really your images show up a little bit better, I think, if you leave a little bit of white there around the edge, and it doesn't show as much if you zig when you should have zagged, or however you want to say that. If you wobbled, anything, it doesn't show those little tiny mistakes, which are just opportunities, right? Is in card making is what we say. And we're just going around the trees. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just trying to leave a little bit of white border, because if you try to do it right on the very edge and then you get off on one, then you feel like you have to fix everywhere else. But I'm also going to come back and go in between those trees because I don't want that line showing. This card would be great for journaling if you're doing a scrapbook, but in this instance, I really just want to see the trees and not see all those lines. that I'm not going to use. So as you can see, I'm pivoting with the scissors. I'm moving my left hand. I'm right-handed, so holding the scissors in my right hand and then just moving the left hand with that pivoting on the right. And this can go, you could go all the way down. I decided I didn't really want a straight edge over there. I wanted it to be kind of soft and in and out. So I'm just doing this right here, so I don't have a straight even piece on the left like I do on the right. Now all we have to do is cut through here so we can get that line out. See, this was not a big deal, just a little bit of fussy cutting. And if you'll do a little bit now and then, it won't be as overwhelming if you've got a project where you really need to do quite a bit of it, right? Because you've had your practice. I think that's it, peeps. We're going to pop this up. Excuse me. And I'll just put, I'm going to go about to here. We're going to go 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, and we should be good to go. Line that up, bottom and side. And don't press very hard until you're sure that's where you want it. I think we've got it pretty good. I think that's a good edge, so I'm happy with that. We're going to press that down now. See how that just really pops those trees up in the foreground? Isn't that neat? I think this is my favorite design that I did for this class. I like it. I hope y'all do too. Now we're going to attach our moon, and we want it to look just right when we've got it up. So I'm going to start right here, put one right here, put one right here, and one over here. Get those backings off. And we're going to have to go to our Take a Pick tool today. Some days I can get them easily, some days I don't.